I have interacted with other versions of myself, but I worry one day I will re-experience these same interactions from their perspectives. But are they truly me, or just hollowed corpses? This may be the face of things to come. It is impossible to escape. I've tried everything. I'm always brought back by the... There is a moment between death and rebirth, when tentacles drag me down, screaming, drowning, returning. What does it mean to go insane? Now, I could give you the dictionary definition, or I could tell you a joke of some kind, but I think if you wanted to experience going insane, you should play Returnal. Because Returnal follows a woman's descent into madness, and it connects you with her in a way that few other experiences could. In Returnal, there is only ever one present character. That is the player character, Celine. And even though you control Celine and you make decisions for her and you literally decide whether she lives or dies, there is a barrier between you two. Because you are the player and she is just a character. Or at least that's how the game starts. But as you play through the game, you begin to feel what she feels. Her fears, her anxieties, her doubts, her frustrations. They all manifest themselves through you and her the same, and thus you are connected. And what Housmarque Games has done here to achieve this level of synchronicity between player and character, it deserves to be analyzed and it deserves to be praised. So that's what I'm setting out to do here. There will be spoilers, obviously, both gameplay and narrative. But if you haven't played the game before, I would honestly recommend that you stop the video here and just go out and buy the game, because the less you know about it, the better. Now, before we can fully delve into the connection we have with Celine, we have to understand a term called ludonarrative dissonance. What ludonarrative dissonance is a disconnect between the way a game's narrative is told through its non-interactive elements versus the way it's told through gameplay. A good example of this would be God of War, where in cutscenes, Kratos is able to leap 30 feet into the air with no problem, but in gameplay, he needs to solve puzzles in order to cross small ledges that he could easily jump over if this were a cutscene. And what this does is it creates a rift between you and Kratos, even though you are the one controlling him. Because in cutscenes, when he is the one in control, he is able to perform feats that you could never even dream of. And the moment the reins are handed back over to you, suddenly you no longer possess those capabilities. Kratos and you are functionally different people. Now, within the context of God of War, this is completely fine, because you are not meant to be immersed as your own playable character. You are playing as Kratos. You are stepping into his shoes. He should feel like his own distinct, unique individual because you are witnessing his story. What Returnal has achieved here instead is the exact opposite: ludonarrative harmony. This, of course, is when the story told through gameplay and the story told through non-interactive elements of a game are synchronized with one another. And it's through the use of many clever tricks that Returnal actually manages to achieve this kind of harmony between you.
Exactly as I left it. But impossible. I logged my first missions in this binder. But this is... It should never be open. Open. Hello? Who is up there?
Returnal is a very difficult game. And even just saying it's difficult is underselling it. It's so hard that only about 30% of players have defeated the first boss. There are 3. And that difficulty alone would be enough to shy away most players, but on top of that, Returnal is also a roguelike, meaning that as soon as you die, you go back to the very beginning of the game. So not only is there immense difficulty, there is also immense punishment for failure. In universe, Celine is trapped in some kind of death loop, where every single time she dies, she suddenly wakes up right at the instance of her crash landing onto this planet. But the twist is that time does not rewind whenever she dies. In fact, she is able to stumble upon her own dead bodies, because only she is transported back, only she returns. Everything else progresses forward. Her only hope is to go find the signal that was used to contact her and use it to contact someone on her mothership to send help. But remember, she's not in a time loop, she's exclusively in a death loop. So the more she dies, the less and less of a chance there is that someone will be on the other side to actually receive that signal, because they may have moved on. So with every death, Celine becomes more adept at traversing this alien planet, just as the player does. And with every death, Celine becomes more frustrated with her circumstances, just as the player does. This creates a situation where even without progressing the story or seeing any significant character beat, the player and Celine are synchronized in their emotions and their reactions to different circumstances. Take for example how health works in this game. In Returnal, there are only a few ways to gain maximum health, and by far the most common way to do so is to pick up a healing item when you are already at full HP. There's another mechanic called Adrenaline, where if you defeat a certain number of enemies in a row without getting hit, you actually gain various abilities and stat buffs that go away the moment you take any damage. The gameplay implication for both of these mechanics is that you are rewarded for playing perfectly, but in universe, it creates an emotional response to taking damage, because not only are you now one step closer to death, you've lost the ability to gain maximum health and you lost the bonuses that are provided from Adrenaline. This creates a whole new meaning to taking damage, and it synchronizes you with Celine once again, because when she winces or whimpers from being hit, not only do you understand how she feels, you feel it too. Returnal isn't just trying to make you feel like Celine or empathize with Celine or understand Celine. You are Celine. And there is a moment where that becomes painfully apparent. Right after defeating the third boss, after struggling for hours, days, weeks, months, or sometimes even years, you finally make your way to that signal, the one that signals your way off this planet, the way for you to return home, for all of this to be over. And then this happens.
Astra received my signal. Then... that's it. You were how I escape. No, I can't be here. I escaped.
A little bit of context here for anybody who didn't get it. Celine escaped from this horrible planet after defeating 3 terrible bosses. She went home, got married, had kids, had grandchildren, died of natural old age, and then still returned here. This moment is such a huge gut punch to both the player and Celine, because I lied earlier when I said that there were 3 bosses, just as the game lied to us and Celine. The game told us that this was the end, played it off like this was the final cutscene, and then swept out the rug from underneath us. And remember that whole death loop thing? Celine didn't go back in time. Time has progressed. Nobody knows that she's on this planet right now, so the hope of rescue is non-existent. And in order to keep us in sync with Celine, the game decides to put us in despair as well. Remember that whole difficulty thing I mentioned earlier? Only 30% of people beat the first boss, only 20% of people beat the second boss, and only a measly 15% of the overall player base has defeated the third boss and made it to this point in the game. And the way that the game rewards us is with an immense difficulty spike. Levels become longer, enemies become much more difficult, to the point where the first half of the game seems like mere child's play to what you are experiencing right now. And yet, if you look at the completion rate after the first half of the game, there is not nearly the same drop-off as there was before. This is where ludonarrative harmony truly hits its stride. Even though Returnal is a roguelike, it does not provide many ways for us to grow in between runs, as opposed to its contemporaries like Hades. Largely, you are the exact same strength at the beginning of the game as you are at the end. And because of that, the thing that changes are not your numbers. It's you and Celine. Both of you grow together. Both of you go insane together. Both of you get frustrated together. And both of you accomplish the impossible together. The reason why the player drop-off is much smaller from the halfway point to the end than it is from the first boss to the halfway point is because by the time you reach that halfway point, despite the immense jump in difficulty, You and Celine have already grown enough to figure out this world, regardless of what it throws at you. And that means that every action you take as Celine is the story. Your triumphs, your failures, your embarrassments, your successes, they all come together to form Returnal. So I wanted to end this video off by telling you about my version of Celine. You see, my Celine is a speedrunner. She beat this planet long ago, but she has not escaped, so she decided to conquer it, like Sisyphus with his boulder. So long as she could find enjoyment in pushing this boulder up the hill, she is successful. Simply defeating the planet is not an accomplishment for her anymore. She needs to dominate it. She needs to master it. And that is precisely what she does. After hundreds and hundreds of attempts, she is no longer fazed by whatever this planet has to throw at her. No matter what terrifying amalgamation of a boss they send her way, they all fall the same. Because with every failure, every setback, every reset run, we've improved together. We've become the masters of this planet, ready to defeat it on our own terms. So as we climb higher and higher, certain that we will face an opponent ever stronger and more terrifying than we have ever faced before, we face it with confidence and with pride. Because we've seen this before, we've been here before, and nothing phases us now. There is no challenge the game can throw at us. Not anymore, at least. The arbitrary challenge that this game issued towards us stopped mattering hundreds of attempts ago. All that remains is the vision we set out for ourselves, and what we are willing to do to achieve it. We have already ascended the tallest mountain, and now it is time to descend to the darkest, deepest depths in search of something, anything that can give this life meaning. This biome, so devoid of hopes and dreams and light itself, it's welcoming because it means the end is near. Just like the mountain upon which Sisyphus must push his boulder, this landscape has become a sense of accomplishment, a sense of triumph. For I am not burdened by the torturous machinations of creators who seek to drive me insane. Insanity is my purpose. Insanity is the goal. Insanity drives me to achieve more than I ever could while sane. So I look towards the creators and I laugh, for the shackles they have placed on me to debilitate my purpose and being have only served as a platform to reach higher heights than I ever imagined. So here I am, in the deepest, darkest depths, engaged with a battle against myself, against my very being, and yet I am victorious. There is no struggle now. Not anymore. Only finishing what needs to be done, what always needed to be done. Unlike Sisyphus, a man tortured by his repetition, I have succeeded. I have ascended to the top of the mountain with my boulder, and I have done so proudly. This is my purpose. So all that's left is to take the final plunge and end this once and for all.
I don't know which attempt this is. Despite knowing the hazards ahead, I'm having difficulty retrieving the technology. There are certain obstacles I don't look forward to re-experiencing. But I feel as though something at the top is summoning me.